In today's global economy, quality matters. Benjamin Franklin once quipped, "The bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten." Quality Matters is here to talk about all things quality. So whether you're looking to improve your business, getting ready for an audit, or dealing with failed inspections, tune in, check us out, then get back to doing work that matters.
Hey everyone, welcome to our first episode of Quality Matters. I am Darci Chambers here with my husband.
I'm Kyle Chambers.
We are a husband and wife duo going to talk about, I guess, matters of quality. And, we'll just see what comes up on the show. We have some guests planned, and this is just kind of our introductory section. So first, I think we'll just have Kyle introduce himself a little bit, tell how he got into this world of quality.
Yeah, so I'm Kyle Chambers. I'm the founder and CEO of Texas Quality Assurance, but that's not really where all of this got started. We'll make a long story short. Maybe we'll do another episode on that. But when I met Darci, we were, obviously a little bit younger, and I was working at Best Buy. And my first real job outside of Best Buy was working for a gas turbine repair company, and I started out as a computer tech. Real quick, I worked my way out of a job, and a few years later, we were going for, I got thrown into the quality, health, safety, environmental world. There's a fun story to that, but that's for another time. And so we were trying to get certified to, a few different standards, managing quality, health, safety, environmental compliance. And I simply could not keep up with the demands of the job. I was working, I think, over 100 hours a week one month.
And we didn't like that very much.
No. There was a fun conversation in the kids' game room about that I remember. And so I decided to put my IT skills to use and started developing software to save time and save energy. So I could be at home, I could get the job done, and take care of the company, take care of the family. And so that was 2013 that we put the first version of it together. And so, here we are nearly 6 years later, talking to you about all sorts of ways that you can save time and energy with quality management. And we'll be exploring a lot of different fun stories that everyone has, and interesting ways that folks have managed to get good products and services out the door without breaking the bank or breaking the family.
So with that, this podcast, if you guys have ideas for us or have a guest or idea that you would like to hear on our show, go ahead and let us know. Drop us a line. I'm sure Kyle can take care of all those links and things so you can contact us. My history in quality is nothing. I am by trade a teacher. I taught for 9 years, and I quit teaching when our oldest son was going to start kindergarten, and that was about the same time that Kyle started dabbling in this quality stuff. And when we had our third baby in 2016, we decided he was going to quit his job and go for this. And
not smart timing, but it's worked out.
No, we wanted to keep the insurance till we had the baby, so that's what we did. And so then he begged me last year, please, I need your help. And so here I sit with him, not really knowing what I'm doing, but helping him. So I'm here for those who maybe don't understand everything in the quality world. When he starts talking a little geeky, I'll try to slow him down and slow our guests down and ask some questions because I don't understand what they're talking about.
No, and this is one thing that I find in my personal consultations and auditing work is a lot of people, when they hear things like ISO 9001 or ISO 14001 or compliance management, they freeze or they get really upset because they've been in organizations where it just was not handled well at all. And all those are good reasons to be shy about this stuff, but quality management isn't anything new, and that's this has been going on literally thousands of years, and we might chat about that here in a little bit. But quality products and services, this is what we do. This is what makes the world go round.
So you think about like your average customer, like me. I do my grocery shopping at Kroger. Shout out to Kroger. Weekly, been going there for years. If I get a crummy product, chances are I'm probably not going to go complain about it. So this isn't, what you're talking about isn't for your average retail stores necessarily. It could be, but that's not who you work with.
No, exactly. But even then, with organizations like Kroger, everyone has to meet requirements, and that's really all that quality management comes down to. Is someone buys something from you and they expect a certain level of quality, and so that's something. Or
they expect their money back, or for the situation to be rectified to their satisfaction.
Exactly. So these are the type of things we want to talk about. We'll probably get, as this thing goes on, I'm sure we'll have some technical episodes, but that's not the key here. The key is to talk about common sense ways, fun stories that other people have gone through to ensure that they're doing their job to the best of their ability, and they're getting the best products and services out the door so that they can provide for their company, and they can go back home and they can provide for their family.
And save time.
Oh, yeah.
While doing it. Kyle has talked a number of times about the binders and the papers and the folder shares on your computer. I guess it started out with the binders and the paperworks, and then computers came around, so people started making folders in their computers, and now, everybody just kind of saves things in different places and nobody knows where everything is. And that's how when Kyle started this business, my friends would say, what's his business? And I was kind of like a deer in headlights. I don't know. And so I would say the simplest way I can explain it is organizing documents so they're easier to find and easier to get to. And I had a little bit of experience with this. Kyle asked me to go on a second party audit, and I got a real good taste of what it's like when you don't know where your stuff is and you can't get there. And I'm not as patient as Kyle on these things, but luckily I managed to keep my mouth shut, so we didn't lose a customer. But I can see where the frustration comes in pretty quickly if you don't have it together.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. It's there's so many aspects of quality management. We'll get into that as this thing goes on. That's why I'm super excited about this podcast. This is going to be just such a wonderful, amazing opportunity to share stories with folks to help them out. I was at our kids' school career day recently, and so it's actually my fifth grader came into it. And
so we're talking about 10-year-olds.
Oh yeah, 10-year-olds. And so the 10-year-olds, the fifth graders, so they're asking about what I do, and the honest to God favorite thing about my job is that I get paid to help people so that they can in turn hire more people and do better and take care of their people better. And that it's just, to me, that's so rewarding and it's so wonderful, and I'm just thrilled to be able to sit here in front of this mic so that over the next months and God willing years, we can share those stories with you.
Yeah, it's really funny to see Kyle's passion about this quality, because to me it just makes my head spin, and it's a bunch of documents and nonfiction. I don't even know how to describe it, but I'm here to support him in however he needs. So what we want to discuss today is a little article that Kyle came across on online, and I guess it's from Newsweek. And people have always had a problem with quality, always looking for a complaint. If you've ever worked in a service-oriented job, like waitressing or Kroger retail, then you know that people like to complain, and they're always looking to get something for nothing. So Kyle came across this Newsweek article about a 3,800-year-old tablet with the world's oldest customer complaint. Wow.
Like I said, this has been going on a long time. So go ahead. You're better at reading out loud than I am. Give us a few snippets of the article and kind of what we're looking at and talking about.
From what I gather, there's a man named Nanny who had, I guess, ordered some copper ingots. I don't know what ingots are. What are ingots? Do you know?
Yeah, they're basically kind of raw pieces of metal that kind of loosely refined.
Okay, of course Kyle knows what they are. So he had gotten some copper ingots, and from the article it looks like he has previously gotten copper ingots from this merchant Nasir, but this time they weren't up to Nanny's specifications. They weren't good enough quality. So he wrote out, you might think it's just a little complaint that says, hey, these aren't good enough. But it's a good, 2 or 3 paragraph complaint about why these aren't good enough. And the article even makes mention, it has a picture of the tablet. I'm sure Kyle can post a link of the article so you guys can see a picture of the tablet. But, it says in the article that the fact that Nanny took time to strike this out on a tablet tells you how mad he is. I mean, I don't even like to handwrite things. I prefer to sit down and type it. But he had to get like a little hammer and a chisel and chisel this out on a tablet. And it's a pretty lengthy little complaint.
Yeah. So he's this is all common language that kind of you hear with customer complaints. At one point he says, what this is a Nanny talking. What do you take me for? That you treat me like somebody with so much contempt. I've sent messengers and all these people to collect money from you. And
the money that he deposited,
yes,
because the copper ingots were not quality enough. So it seems like he's sent them back and forth, and this is, you guys got to remember, it's not just an email back and forth or a phone call back and forth. And not only are they traveling back and forth, they're traveling through enemy territory. Nanny makes note of that in his tablet. I'm sending them through enemy territory to get my deposit back.
Yeah, and this wasn't any small order. This was looks like they said 1,080 pounds of copper. And
no, I think that's what he had previously gotten from them.
Okay, sorry.
So it tells you he's a pretty good customer.
Yeah. And so all of this is typical quality management. A lot of people don't think about things like this as quality management. But one of the things with quality is the only reason you do anything in business is because somebody else needs your product or they need your service. So you always start with the customer at the front, and you wind up providing it to the customer, and that's the back of your process. Everything in between supports those inputs and outputs of your process. And the fact that we have written record from 3,800 years ago on a clay tablet is just testament to how much of an issue this is, not just our modern world, but for the way that we've interacted for millennia.
Yeah, I guess the merchant didn't really need Nanny's business too much, because that's how his complaint starts out. Nanny's complaint starts out and says that the merchants that told the messengers, if you want them, take them. If you don't, go away. Yeah. So the merchant really just said, I don't care what you think. I've got your money. You can take what I've given you, or you can not, and you can go away. And I guess Nanny kept on sending his messengers, waiting on this merchant to change his mind, and he didn't. Yeah. And it's funny because Nanny says the same kind of stuff that you still hear today in the customer complaints, and he says, nobody else treats me this way. No other merchant treats me. And I've already done this much business with you. And how do you treat me like this? And it's funny because just last night, Kyle and I were reading some funny customer complaints that an article I came across on Facebook, or who knows where it was. But and it was the same kind of stuff. I've already done this much business with you. And how dare you treat me this way? And so finally, I think at the end of the little tablet, he says, I'll go ahead and take them, the ones of not fine quality, and I'll put them in my yard, I think he says.
Yeah.
And he ends it with saying, I shall exercise against you my right of rejection because you have treated me with contempt. So again, we're back to the typical customer complaint, I won't come see you anymore.
Right. Yeah. So this is all just really fascinating, especially, and I don't want to be too much of a history geek, but this was a really interesting time in the world. These were some of the first written laws, first, really structured cities and structured organizations. And so the moment that this structure enters into our society, we expect to get what we pay for. And it's not a silly concept, but delivering that can be incredibly difficult. And I have no idea. I doubt that this gentleman making the copper ingots, he may have had stacks of clay tablets with work instructions on them, or it may have just been, how that was.
You think he had his own QMS back then?
Yeah, you never know. That could be a little interesting to look at if it was ever found. But no, today we have the exact same processes going on. There's really at the heart of it nothing different. But as you see here, it's not always easy to do what you say you're going to do, and that's my personal definition of quality. And every quality manager and quality engineer and expert in history has had their own specific definition of quality. So I'm not claiming mine's better than anyone else's. But for me, it is to say what you're going to do, and then repeatedly do it with assurance that it'll be the same each time.
So it's kind of like a science experiment. You got to be able to repeat the experiment and get the same results for it to be accurate.
No, absolutely. And
now I know why you like it so much. You're a science geek.
Yes, maybe so. Yeah, something about quality, it just really drew me in. And, this is kind of stepping back from the article for a minute. But, even in my days working at Best Buy, trying to work through college, my first 6 months there, I wrote, I think, like a 40-page long manual on how to use their internal systems and how to get what you need from the service centers, because they didn't have it documented for us to find, or if they did, it was.
But how many people read that manual at Best Buy?
That is the reason that I got that first full-time job, because the folks at the spring store, when they were opening it up, found out that I had that manual, and they wanted me to come train their people, and that's how I got my first full-time job.
So I think I see it differently in a retail situation. I don't think a lot of people really put a lot of emphasis on the manual. But when you're talking about, a manufacturing plant or something along those lines, especially if they have one major customer that keeps them in business,
Amen.
Looking at this Newsweek article, obviously our merchant, Nasir, or however you say his name, he wasn't dependent upon Nanny's, money. So, you look at these big manufacturing plants that you work with that are dependent upon a couple of really big companies. They need to follow their quality manual. Because if they mess up on one lot of something going out to their customer, then they could lose that customer, which in turn could lose their business.
Oh yeah, no, it's a huge issue, especially once you start tabulating rework and missing your delivery dates. I mean, yes, your customer can be satisfied sometimes with a maybe a little bit late delivery date, especially if it's not a critical product.
Okay, I kind of want to stop you right there. I think that's something we're going to discuss in another podcast is, something that we hear a lot when we're trying to sell our software is, we don't have money for that right now.
Yep.
We don't have money for that software right now. And, I got to do a little plug. We're pretty reasonably priced in our software because Kyle's just he's very passionate about it, and he just wants to help your company.
Absolutely.
But aside from that, you've really got to, if you dig in and weigh the costs of what Kyle was saying, the rework and the missed delivery dates, and, it's not just like, oh, I've wasted this product. It's all the labor involved and, trying to redesign and remake it. And did that work? I don't know. Plus the wasted product.
And it sounds like that's exactly what this here was trying to avoid was any rework, remanufacturer's process. I mean, it absolutely could have been resmelted and remelted down, but he didn't want to go through the hassle and effort for it. And that's the same in so many organizations today. And that's part of what we check for when we do internal audits is we want to take a look at your own internal defect record, which for some people that means you have to track your own internal defects. And that in itself can be a challenge. But when you do these things, it's just amazing the opportunities you create for yourself to improve. And it is amazing those customer relationships that Darci's talking about that you can really create and really foster, because if they know that they're going to get the exact same product, the exact same service, the exact same level from you every single time, that's immensely valuable.
Exactly. So that's what we're shooting for here. But today we just want to let you know if you've had a customer complaint, you're not alone, as I'm sure you already knew, and it's been around for at least 3,800 years that we know of, probably longer than that.
Yep. So I guess this is it for our first podcast.
I guess so. Kyle's going to put the link below to the article. I really hope that you guys will go and look at this tablet because it's pretty funny to consider.
It really is.
It's a lot of time he took chiseling this out.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. So with that, we hope you have a great day and find time today to save time and energy for what matters most. Light is red. Timer's ticking.
Oh, I didn't start my stopwatch.
We're recording. Well, it shows me here too. We're at 9 seconds in, 10 seconds in, 11 seconds in, 12 seconds in.